Hello, my name is Teresa Valentino, and I'm your friendly neighborhood child sex trafficking survivor. This morning, I'd like to share with you a little, some of my thought process about dealing with rape apologists, okay? The Me Too era has brought in a lot of very much needed conversations. I'm extremely grateful that we're having this conversation, but like in the interim, while society adjusts to having women be thought of as human beings 100% of the time, in the interim, the turbulence is pretty brutal for me, I'm going to be honest. So I've had a lot of opportunities in this past week to really think about rape trolls, where they're coming from, what it's all about. And I've realized that the bigger problem than the actual rape trolls, the number of rape trolls, people like Jim Jeffries or that David Tosh, that actually think rape is a funny thing to go ahead and make your living making jokes about, they're actually kind of low. That's actually a lower number. The army of people who batter my mental health constantly with their opinions is the rape apologist. So I'd like to just sort of make that distinction for you guys just a little bit, because I know there are not many people that watch my channel, but I'm pretty sure they're survivors too. And so, you know, this is news we can use, folks. This is news by us, for us, and about us for a change. So the rape apologist is the person who wants Louis back, basically, who's like, well, Norm Macdonald said he's sorry, so just move along. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, Norm Macdonald and Michael Ian Black are two guys that to some extent have an amplified voice, right? They're celebrities, people know their names, they can go on Twitter and cause an uproar, okay? Whereas me, I can't get arrested in this town, you know what I mean? I'm a nobody, I have zero voice, which is pretty consistent with being a sex trafficking survivor, is nobody wants to hear what you have to say. But that's changing, because there are people who want to hear what I have to say, the other survivors. So the thing with a rape apologist is a person who gets that sexual assault has happened but wants to minimize, downplay, or dismiss it. And that is the absolute most common sort of trolling that I have faced in my life. So it can be somewhat insidious, because it's people who appear to be nice people who you wouldn't be threatened by yourself. Like, for example, Norm Macdonald or Michael Ian Black. Those are two guys. Look, I used to watch Michael and Michael do comedy back in the 80s. And so they were, back then I was in my, what do they call it? My crisis phase, where I was just starting to actually remember the details of what had happened to me as a child. Because before then it was all just kind of a jumbled up series of flashbacks, like individual moments and the emotions and physical sensations that accompanied them, but not any sort of like a storyline that I could piece together. I had to piece that storyline together of what actually happened and how many people were in the room, etc., over the course of many years of therapy. So back in the 80s, I was in a very vulnerable and fragile place, and I almost couldn't watch TV or read a newspaper or anything because there was so much triggering stuff. Rape culture was so intense back in the 1980s, like it blows the mind. That's when the Man Show was in its heyday, you know what I mean? Like, it was full-on anti-feminism, even among the nice people. So, you know, and look, Jimmy Kimmel has gone forward from being on an anti-feminist show, which was the most obnoxious, abusive, misogynist show that could possibly be considered a comedy. And look, and now he's America's moral compass and sweetheart, talking about healthcare for children and stuff. So, I mean, you know, rape apology is a very real thing. It's a very real, you know, misogyny, everybody gets a free pass on it, and they still want their free passes forever on it. So, the thing with Michael Ian Black, again, back in the day when I couldn't even turn on a TV because there's going to be some aggressive guy on there talking shit that's going to upset me, I could watch Michael and Michael because they kept it pretty clean. They were classy. They didn't punch down at women a lot. So, Michael came out with this statement about Louis' disgusting little display there. Michael Ian Black came out and said something like, I know I'm going to take a lot of heat for this, but... You know, so to me, I'm just an old cynical Gen X lady. And I realize, like, I try to grade people on the curve because apparently Michael Ian Black did not get molested as a child, and I'm glad. I wish less children would get molested. But adult men almost never get raped unless they're in jail. And, you know, if they don't get attacked as children, then they grow up completely oblivious to the entire conversation, like oblivious and insulated from it. which is super evident in the conversations of both Norm Macdonald and Michael Ian Black, that they're just completely insulated from the reality of sexual abuse. So when he says that, I'm going to take heat for this, but the first thought in my mind was, this is a guy whose name I really haven't heard since the 90s, and he has a new book out. And so this thing where he's making an enemy of the U2 crowd seems like he just wants a bunch of attention. Looks really gross, looks very abusive, exploitative, all of the above. But I still have to grade on the curve of, you know what? He's probably a friend of Louis, and he's probably a guy who would also like to have his own career come back, and so he kind of can't afford to see that there is no extra room for Louis. Like, psychologically, he can't afford to admit how offensive this whole concept is for people like me. The whole conversation is offensive. So I don't know. I'm finished grading people on the curve. I can't do it anymore. I just don't have it in me. Like, I'm gonna have to work on how I can be polite and kind to people even when I have no respect for them. I don't know. I don't know how to have these conversations, but I'm not giving people the benefit of the doubt anymore, because here's the deal. Michael Ian Black, after saying this, I know I'm going to get backlash for this, but, and then of course he got a ton of backlash, and I read the Twitter feeds and I read the comments that he got, and basically he did answer almost everybody, a lot of people, not me. I actually shot him a special video to discuss it with him, and he didn't acknowledge that, so... but a lot of people, he did acknowledge them, and all he would do is just write them back and grovel, like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Like, you can just say I'm sorry a million times without actually getting it, because then 2 days later, he's over here tweeting nonsense like, well, I just took a cavalcade of poops. You know what I mean? It just proves that the gravity of the situation still eludes him. It still escapes him. He just really does not get it. It's a failure to grasp, a refusal to grasp. So that's a rape apologist when you want to just gloss over how the survivor community does not want to see Louis' face anymore. That's rape apology. Well, I'm just making an excuse for Louis. Here he comes back, okay? Rape apology is the new kryptonite, okay? Don't fuck with it. Anybody who's a rape apologist, you have to assume that they're being passive-aggressive with you, because it could be cluelessness, but it's also quite likely to be straight-up passive aggression, as it was with Michael Ian Black. And so, and maybe it's not. Maybe he's not conscious of how passive-aggressive that was, what he did there, because he may just be that oblivious, one thing that I've noticed is that a lot of men in our country, and maybe around the world too, are raised to not ever wonder what's going on with other people. They don't consider other people. They don't think about it. They're basically kind of thoughtless and inconsiderate. It's their thing. It's their brand. So I don't know. I'm really tired of it. But my point is, like, whether Michael Ian Black gets what was so passive aggressive about that or not, it came across very exploitative. He did get a ton of attention. He's probably going to sell more books as a result, and he has definitely created a significant unpleasant experience for me and a certain number of other survivors. And so I hope that he enjoys the money that he made on that, and enjoy it while you can, sweetheart, because that society is dying out. In conclusion, I would just like to say that, same with Norm Macdonald, all of that, and his apology and his refusal to grasp it. He's another person who hasn't been in the public eye in quite a while. And, oh, gee, look, Norm Macdonald, if Norm Macdonald really did want to apologize for having offended the Me Too community, why the fuck did he go on Howard Stern to do it, right? Think about that for a second. And then go over there and take a crap on Down syndrome people. Like, the fuck, dude? Really? You know what I mean? So if somebody is trying to make a sincere apology, or to, have a grown-up conversation with people who they've harmed, like the Me Too survivors, why would you go on Howard Stern to do that? It doesn't make any sense, right? So, not to be a prosecutor or a cop about this, but when I suspect somebody of being a liar, when I see someone being passive-aggressive, I just take it for what it is. So Norm Macdonald is a rape apologist, a rape troll, and a failure. So is Michael Ian Black. Sorry, but, Michael Ian Black, just grovel, say you're sorry, and then change absolutely nothing. He doesn't seem to grasp that he needs to actually educate himself in what went wrong there, rather than just say sorry, and continue. See, that doesn't fucking work, and it makes you look even much, much worse. Norm Macdonald going on The View and failing the hostage video, dude, you failed the hostage video. So, I don't know. But this is how, hopefully my survivors can use this and, you know, don't loan other people your strength, okay? If they don't understand what's going on in the world, if they can't get it together, if they can't communicate like a decent adult, then don't communicate with them. Because whether it's conscious or unconscious, don't allow people to troll you. That's my message for today. So I would love to hear what you have to say about this. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should apologize to Michael Ian Black and to Norm McDonald. I should apologize to both of them. I probably called them some bad names, and I'm sorry. I have lost respect, and I don't trust or believe the words that you said anymore. So that's what it is, guys. So anyway, I'd love to hear what you think about this. Comment, rate, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Share my videos, because I have a small voice, but it's coming, baby. It's coming, and it's getting bigger.